Just like the thumbnail said, so you're thinking about going to a motorcycle rally. That's what it's going to be about today. We're going to tell you what we think and which ones you might want to go to and which ones maybe you don't want to go to.
You find out which ones we're thinking about going to. Stay tuned.
So we're going to start off today, and let's go ahead and start with what's coming up. Will be our first rally that we'll be going to, which is Daytona. You know, Daytona is a little different from a lot of the other rallies you go to. Some of the things, we'll start with some of the things that are good about Daytona, because sometimes I go out there and tell you the bad things, and people are like, why do I even want to go there if that's all those things are bad? They don't make it to the good stuff. You know what it is they've got one of them in Sturgis have probably the best main street for watching bike. You know, they got a lot of bars out there. You can sit and hear. There's a lot of music. That's probably the most lively place you can go. The very next thing is Teddy Morris's Harley Davidson dealer down there now. That's all going pretty good. What's nice about that is there's so many vendors there. Down there you can also hear music at
Sinners and Saints.
And they got that going on. They got beer you can buy during the day. They've got bike shows going on. They had a bikini contest last year. They may have one of those again this year. Also on their property is J&P Cycles. They have a lot of their vendors there. What I like about Daytona is when you go to that area, you get to meet a lot of very important people, which I say, you know, if you want to go down there and you want to get a Clockworks windshield, you can actually talk to Brian Clock. You're not always going to get to meet their CEO, but you may get to meet their representatives, which are not just a salesman. It's usually somebody higher up in the company that's there that can answer any questions you want. That's one of the things that's kind of nice about it. You know, there are some wild things going on there. You can go out there to the Cabbage Patch, or you can go over across the street too.
Crackleberry.
And they have some really wild, crazy things going on there. You know, there's some camping there. There's a lot of hotels, so there's a lot of options there to stay in a lot of different places.
You got the beach.
Not a whole lot of campgrounds. But we have one campground that we kind of tell people to go to, but it's dry camping.
Crazy Horse.
And what else they have there is Camp Easy Ride. They're also set up out there. So that's another place to check out. But that's kind of a neat area that's right there off of International Drive. Also over at the Speedway, that's where like Amzo Adam, he's always over there. 2 years ago, they had, you know, Harley Davidson came out with a whole big thing. And a lot of the demo rides were there. Kawasaki, Indian, Harley, all that stuff was going on. So that's kind of nice to see that too. Right before this, they have the Daytona 500. So that's a pretty big crowd coming in and out. You have a lot of cars. You know, that's a tourist area. So we're coming to a tourist area as bikers. So we don't kind of own the road. You got to be very careful. There's some accidents that happen out there. There's the police. Some of the towns don't like motorcycles. Some of them are okay with it. So there's a lot of that. And you got to drive pretty far. You know, everything, you know, to get down to the Harley Davidson dealer, you got to drive about 20 miles. You know, if you want to go out to Cackleberry, it's about 20 miles from Main Street. So there's a lot of riding to do. Now the bad thing about it is there's not any really good riding. You know what people do the loop. It's just something that goes right on. It's just kind of scenic and that's about it. But other than that, you could go down to some beach towns. A lot of places you could go to, Disneyland, whatever you want to do.
You can go up to St. Augustine's. That's kind of a cool area too.
So there is some things you can do there. So that's going to kind of leave it there with you. If you want more information on that, contact us. We'll be having some more videos coming up on the rally as we get closer to Daytona to tell you things that we recommend.
Or check the playlist out for Daytona from the previous years.
So the next rally we hit is going to be Leesburg. Now, Leesburg rally is kind of a unique rally because it's kind of a small town atmosphere. You know, you still got that Florida vibe. It's not on the ocean. It's not on the Gulf. They do have some waterways and stuff down there too to check out and stuff. But what's kind of neat is the Harley dealer down there, Gators, is really a great place. Great people. They have some vendors down there. Not a lot of big trucks are there, but all the good local vendors are coming in that we normally support. They're all going to be there. They also we have the campground that we always like that we're staying at now is
Windy Acres.
And we're going to be working with them, maybe with the Professional Monkey, and do some fun things there coming up next year. We got to get with the Professional Monkey and get all armed out. But we may be doing some games there, some biker games, and do a bunch of fun events. Some of you might be able to win some money. So we'll see how that all works out. So that's kind of it. There's that same thing where there's not a whole lot of riding to do out there, but it's just a really good time. They have some pretty good bands downtown. Also out there at Windy Acres, he has bands and events that's going on out there. So it's a pretty nice, more of a down-to-earth. People that kind of come to this bike rally is more of people that ride bikes. You don't see a lot of tourists in our area. It's more bikers that are down there. So it's more, Professional Monkey always talks about it, that it's one of his favorite rallies. And it is, it's really, if you get down there and you talk to people, they're very friendly to you.
Hometown feel.
Yeah, and it's really nice to go there. One of the bad things about it is there's not a lot of hotels campgrounds that are right around there. You can go all the way into Orlando, which is about 30 miles away. There's a couple campgrounds along that road. You're also getting into, they call the snowbird time, when there's a lot of older people down there staying around for the winter season, trying to stay warm from wherever they came from. Next thing we're going to talk about is Panama City. That's Thunder Beach Rally. You know, that's kind of a neat rally. I like that one over Daytona because it is really a beach area. You know, in Daytona, you got to drive around the hotels to actually see it. Unless you're staying at one of the hotels, you're really not going to get to see the beach. Well, here in Panama City, there's a bunch of bars out there that you can go out and you can actually go take your drink and go right off their deck, down the steps, right out to the beach. Yeah. So I really like that. It's more of a beachy theme. It's more festive. There is the same thing. There's not a whole lot of campgrounds there. There's a couple state parks. There's a couple local campgrounds there. But it's not so much of the older people there. It's not so much of a snowbird time, but it is a very touristy time. And sometimes on the weekend, there can be a lot of cars. Dealerships, they have some vendors there. Over at Frank Brown's Park, they have a bunch of vendors there. We've got a bunch of bars out there, Hammerhead Fred's and
Movies, Sharkies.
And a lot of them all have bands and stuff nightly. They've also got a place that's downtown. I forget what it's actually called. There's another area there that they have some vendors and stuff down there. They've moved around a couple times the last couple of years. But I kind of like that rally. But once again, there's not a whole lot to do. But one of the places we love to go take a ride to and have lunch at is
McGuire's out in Destin, Florida.
And that's a pretty nice ride. You could actually get off to the side. You can kind of go through some of the beach towns and stuff there and kind of check that out. You don't have to stay on the main highway. You go down there. If you go a little bit farther, there's a really cool bridge you go over, and the water's really shallow. There's boats out there. People are partying and stuff.
Sandbars, and the water's crystal clear blue. Everybody's standing out there up to their waist in the water. It's really cool.
Yep. So that's another neat thing to do in Panama City. So right after Panama City, we head to Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach is totally just a different vibe when you go to Myrtle Beach. Mainly everything, all the excitement and everything is down in
Murrells Inlet.
And that's kind of where all the bars are at. That's where the Beaver Bar's down there. There's SBB's down there. So that's kind of more of the happening thing that's going on.
Party place.
There's a few other things. There's used to be Broken Spoke, and it's called
Bones and Spokes now.
They're over there. They got a pretty nice place. They got a place out at the back. It kind of looks like a lagoon and stuff, and,
really cool.
And lots of bikes can get in there. They have some vendors there. They got a bikini bike wash and stuff going on, so some stuff going on there. We don't know if this is going to happen anymore. There used to be vendors that were down at
Barefoot Landing.
That's over in North Myrtle. What's happened there over the years is we're actually in a complex with a bunch of other stores, you know.
Businesses, restaurants.
And we've been taking their parking spots, and some of these businesses have been complaining. This last fall, they said no more. Now, some people are saying they're still going to have it next year. We'll find out here. Well, we should find out now. I'll start calling some of the vendors and see if they're booking over there at that time. So a lot of them, some of them didn't go down. Some of them found some other locations to go to. So it's kind of getting kind of weird there about the vendors. Myrtle Beach has got, you could do some beach riding and stuff, but once again, it's not any real curvy, twisty roads. You got to drive about 3 hours out of town to go up to the mountains to have a really good time. But it is kind of a beachy area. Once again, Myrtle Beach Police do not like motorcycles. So that's kind of the downfall of it. But if you're over there, which is really weird about this rally, is it's in 2 different counties and 3 different cities, and it all starts in different times. If you go down to the Beaver Bar, they're kind of one of the first ones that get to open on that first, I don't know if it's Friday or Saturday.
So in Georgetown County.
And then everybody else can't open until like Monday. Just even the Harley dealer can't have their vendors and stuff in there. So it kind of makes it a weird situation. This year we're going to be down there for an extra week ahead of time. So we're going to be down and giving you a lot of good stuff that's going on, things like that.
Maybe we'll be able to take a trip up to the mountains.
Yeah, maybe. So
take a nice ride.
Yeah, show you other things that are going on. So, next thing after that is we head back home. Next we'll head back to Sturgis. Now we get to Sturgis really early to give you guys all the great coverage because that is the granddaddy of rallies. If you've got it on your bucket list, you've never gone, you need to go.
This year or next year.
It is nothing like any other bike rallies you're going to go to. One, it's got the best riding in the world. Tons of rides, hundreds of rides you can go on. We're getting there actually this year, probably around the first or second week of June, and be there till Monday after the Sturgis rally's over. We've been doing that for the last 3 years, and we still haven't done all the rides. There's so much to do. Just riding through a subdivision can be fun. They don't have too many speed bumps, but they're all windy. It's just a really great place to ride. You can see the bisons, you can see donkeys, burros, you can see longhorn sheep, you can see elk, you can see deer. You're out in the wild. And the nice thing about Sturgis is you meet people that are down to earth. If you get time, talk to some local people. And another great thing about Sturgis is every freaking town within 100 miles has special parking for motorcycles because they want us there. It's not like some of these other ones we've talked about that don't really care to have you in there. That Main Street is a great ride too, no matter what time of day it is. Got some great bars on Main Street to hang out in, so it's a lot of fun there. You can go out to the campgrounds. You got the Buffalo Chip, which is a full complex of exciting things going on. If you haven't seen it, next on the 14th, Buffalo Chip's putting a video up that we're putting up for them. That's the top 10 things that we think that makes the Buffalo Chip #1. You also got out there Full Throttle Saloon. They keep adding on and doing more stuff. They're in a big property. Well, the only bad thing about it's a 7 more mile ride out of town, and a lot of cops sit on that road. But I mean, there's all kinds of things to do out there. And like I say, all the towns, Deadwood, Keystone, Custer, all these towns, there's so much stuff to do inside and check out. Plus, there's some great riding. Going out to Devil's Tower, going the other way to Devil's Tower, you can go out there and see what's the town that I always said it was sold on eBay?
Aladdin.
And that's a really cool town to stop in. People actually that owns the store, they actually own the town.
That's right.
They said they didn't buy it on eBay, but we heard that originally, so I don't know.
That's the rumor we heard.
Yeah, but I mean, there's all kinds of great things to go out. You can also go out to you can go out and see the burn house.
Yep, that's in Sundance.
Yep, they have that on the same Wednesdays. And also, the other great thing that we like to always do out there is
go to Hewlett for the Ham Jam.
That's right, and that's a really cool town to check out. Great time. Same thing. You can go out and do a big loop there and hit all those 3 things. You can come through and hit
You hit Aladdin, then you can go out to the Ham Jam in Hewlett, go to Devil's Tower, end up in Sundance for the burnouts, and all in one day.
That's right. You've made a full day. You got to see all the sites that are going on, and it's pretty neat. So this year we're going to be showing you all that great stuff that's going on. So I can't say a whole lot about bad things about Sturgis. You know, people say, oh, it's so expensive. They're all expensive. No matter where you go, Daytona.
You've got one major thing. Black Hills Harley Davidson, where all the vendors are at.
And they're just like Daytona is. A lot of the vendors that are there, you're going to see the owners or the big wigs of those companies are going to be there. You know, if you're thinking about, hey, I want some Vance and Hines pipes, but I don't know what I want. They got all the bikes there. You can listen to them all, hear what they sound like, and you make a legitimate decision on what you want to do. Because that's what's bad about a lot of this, and that's a whole nother video to talk about. You can actually hear what you're going to buy, see what it is, you can sit on the seats, you can do all this versus ordering something online. You get it and you put it on, and it's like, well, this is like sitting on a rock. You know, I would have never bought this.
The seat or the pipes or the handlebars, you know, it's like, oh, I didn't know they were that high.
So there's a lot of things like that. You can get them installed. A lot of them offer free installations. So it's just a lot of neat things. I also do that in Daytona too. So that's some of the neat things that are special about Sturgis. And we'll have a whole lot of videos on that. So if you're thinking about that, keep watching the channel. You know, some of the other rallies that we've done in the past that we not necessarily going to do every year or do next year. You know, we actually, last year we went out to Ocean City, and that was a very different rally. It was more of a beachy theme, more of a fun time. The person that was doing the concerts, I don't know if they're going to have concerts anymore. He's out of the business now. We don't know what's going to happen with their concerts and stuff. Vendors are everywhere. There's not any one place that the vendors are really at. None of the big trucks are there or anything like that.
A small dealer out there that we went to see, and you know, he had a couple vendors in his lot, but not a whole lot.
Convention Center parking lot is kind of the big area where almost all your main vendors are going to be, but they've got them scattered all over. And then Main Street shuts some streets down. You can park your bikes on and stuff. So Ocean City is okay. I'm not going to say I didn't like it. I wasn't overly impressed with it, but I'd like to go down there because I think there's some good riding to do that we didn't get a chance to do. There's a couple islands you can ride out on and things like that. So it'd be kind of neat to check that out. Now then we came back this year, during that same time, there's another bike rally going on, which we've gone to, which is called Lake of the Ozarks. That's a pretty neat rally. There's some good riding, okay? Not like Sturgis, but they're a lot better than any of the other places we've been talking about. They've got some good, you go around the big lake that they have, and you can check out all these little towns and stuff. They're getting bigger and bigger. Now, we haven't been there the last 2 years. I'd like to go next year, but we don't know how things are gonna go yet. That's kind of a cool rally because what it's known for is it's a party lake. They've got a lot of bars there, a lot of nightclubs, things like that, that during the bike time, because this is like in September, there's nothing else going on. So that's why they bring in the bikes, close an area off and down by the dam, and you can ride down on your bike and park. And it's just kind of a neat rally, and I'd like to go to it again. It's kind of like one of these rallies, because a lot of people always say that. Why about some of these small rallies you don't always go to? Well, some of the rallies just don't justify for us. What's nice about this one is the next weekend right after that is Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. We're planning on going back there this year. We've been there twice now. Since we've been doing our channel 4 years, we've been there twice. What we found out now is it has some excellent riding. It's getting, not Sturgis, but getting there.
Got some twisty, curvy roads.
And so there's some good riding. There's some great places to be. Sandoval just opened up a campground.
Flatheads.
Yep, they got that going, and they also got
The cat house.
and that's always there. That's a great party area. He's actually involved with the campground too over there. There's all kinds of different events going on. Then you can also go over to Rogers, where Pig Trail Harley Davidson's at, and they've got a bunch of vendors on their lot.
60 last year.
Yeah, so they had a pretty good crowd there, and they're taking it over, and they're going to be running their lot from now on themselves. So they're going to change. They kind of talked to me about some things, and we'll talk about that on another video.
Downtown Rogers area, they're kind of trying to spruce that up and get a feel for, because it used to be down in Fayetteville, but it's college town. They don't want bikers anymore, so they're moving it up to Rogers, which is where Pig Trail Harley is. They're trying to get the downtown area all spruced up, get some bars down there, get some stuff going. They had a couple concerts down there on the main drag.
They had Jackal, I think, played, and a couple other bands came out there and played.
Quite right, was it one of them? I think that was downtown in
That was
Eureka
downtown.
Springs.
Eureka Springs, they had bands and stuff. So it was kind of a really neat area. I recommend, which I can't even believe, Eureka Springs, little bitty town, probably got a couple thousand people in it.
2,000, yeah.
How many hotels they got?
Like 56. It was crazy. We kept driving through, and I thought, you know what? It's really close to Branson, Missouri, and I thought, that's why they have all that. And they said, nope.
It's an artsy-fartsy town. Not so fartsy, but it's artsy. A lot of people come there, a lot of artists come there, and they draw the hills and all this stuff. There's some really cool places. We went to a place
They come to get some inspiration. So
we went to a place that had pizza, and it was up on this upper floor. It was an old antique building, and it was cool. The cat owned the place, if you go back and find that video.
Yeah, that was a really cool place, and it had a beautiful view. It's an awesome place. It's an awesome rally. You should check it out if you're anywhere around there.
We want to spend more time there. The same thing. I don't know if we're doing Ocean City. I don't know if we're going to do Lake of the Ozarks, but I'd really like to spend a couple weeks there because I think there's so much good riding we haven't even found yet. Last time it rained off and on, so we didn't get to do as much riding as we wanted to do. So we're hoping next year. You never can predict the rain when you do these rallies and stuff. Another rally that we've done that is pretty cool, and I'd like to go back and do that again, is the Tennessee Motorcycle Music Revival.
That's right.
That's actually at Loretta Lynn's Ranch in Tennessee. That's really cool. We know the people that put that on. And that's just, what that is it's kind of old school rally. They have a dirt track there. They have motorcycle races and mini bike races and all kinds of stuff. And they have burnouts and, the typical stuff that you see. But one of the neat things is they take you out on these great rides. I actually went one day because I said she stayed there and did some filming. And I'm like, I'll go on the ride. They don't charge anything for the ride. You just come up and you go along. Well, we went out to this farm out in the middle of nowhere. And they took us, you could either ride your bike through the creek or you could load up in a couple pickup trucks and they hauled you over to this log cabin. We had
fresh fried catfish.
And we had hush puppies and we had beer and
fresh tomatoes and everything they did everything right there.
And it's free. Didn't cost us nothing. There was nothing to buy. They were just glad to have you come out. And then we all rode back together. It was probably about a 45-minute ride to go where we're at. We're probably out there an hour or so and then came back. They also went and did a winery tour. They did a lot of different rides like that we missed some of that because we couldn't figure out all the things that were going on. So that's pretty neat that you can camp there. They have tents you can rent. They have trailers I think you can rent. You can bring your own trailer. They have a boondocking area that's out by a lake. You can park out back there. There's a nice creek that runs through the property. It's really cool out there. And they've got some really good riding. But once again, we didn't spend enough time there to check out all the riding. But you are in the hills, Tennessee hills when you're there.
Smoky Mountains.
You're not too far from Nashville and things like that. You could even come down and spend there's another rally that's 3 or 4 days long, so it's not a long rally. It was pretty cool, and we'd like to do that again. I just don't know when. Campground does have fees to come in. So you have to pay to get access to the property if you pay for a pass to stay so that's kind of how it works. You gotta get a wristband. Some Buffalo Chips like that. Some of the other campgrounds are like that too. We didn't mention it on all of them, but yeah, this is one of the rallies that you have to pay to go see it. We also have a rally that's not too far from us. It used to be called the Laughlin River Run. It's called the Bullhead River Run. Starting low, the guy tried to do a lot bigger last year. It didn't turn out so well. He's going back to a smaller venue. We have some really great riding out here. We're out here on the Colorado River. We got we're right off of Route 66 here. We've got the longest stretch of continuous old school Route 66.
The original Route 66.
Yes. So that's pretty neat. So that you could ride that. It's good for a day. We're not very far from the Grand Canyon. Williams is just about a 2.5-hour drive. You can get up to Williams. That's a really cool area. You can ride out to check out the Grand Canyon and all that. You can do that on an overnight trip. So there's a lot of really neat things that they have to do here. So that's another one to check out. It doesn't cost anything to go to the events. He used to have you had to pay for some of the big name concerts he had. He had Cheap Trick and a couple other bands over the year. You had to pay $20 or $30 to get into that.
Right.
But,
I think there's one.
But all those bands he had in the park and stuff were all local and they were free. And most of these rallies all have that. There's always free entertainment. Panama City, they've got free entertainment there that you can hear. You don't have to pay to get inside and see the big names. So which we'll be seeing again this year.
Right.
So that's another one to kind of think about. We also have the Arizona Bike Week. That's really, it's right after Daytona. And a lot of people go to that one. Arizona Bike Week is another one that pay to get into it. You got to pay to see the concerts. The best part about all of it is Cave Creek. Cave Creek is the place. But
the party place.
Yeah. It's very small, very trendy place too. A couple great bars there, kind of where some of the bike builders and stuff are at. That's kind of cool. We've done Arizona Bike Week a few times. I other than Tennessee Music Revival, I was okay with maybe paying to go in there. But the ones that we've had in Arizona just wasn't worth the money. Now, they dropped, I think last year they were $12 to get in, but you still had to pay $90 or something for a ticket to see the bands. And there was no, Jackal was the main headliner. Everybody else was bands, most of them were local bands I never heard of, and you're paying to see them. Normally, I go to a rally, I'm not looking for the bands. If they're there and we're there, I'll listen to them, but we don't really, until last year we stayed at the Buffalo Chip, we never really seen that many concerts. We'd see a concert for, maybe halfway through and we'd leave. That's not what we came to a motorcycle rally to do, is listen to bands. But if we're at a bar or we're at, one of the venues and they're playing music, of course I'm gonna listen to it. So something to think about. We have Galveston. That's another one that's in November. We have two roads there, the Strand and the Seawall. And that's kind of where all the vendors and stuff are at. They line up on the one street, and then they have another area where you can ride your bike down. It's all closed off for bikes, and all around there's a bunch of vendors and stuff. Now they do charge to park your bike there. But what I found out is the people that put on the venue have to pay for the police, the fire department, and everything else, because
porta potties, all that stuff.
That's all shut down. So that's the reason you're paying to park. The idea is to if you're gonna be there the week, buy the pass and park all the whole time for free. There is places you can park for free. We won't tell you all the great places yet. You gotta watch the videos. And we'll show you the great places. There's places real close that you can park for free. That's one of the things to think about that. But Galveston's pretty neat. There's also over at the county fairgrounds, they have a venue there that has all kinds of camping. They have some hookups and stuff. And they're only open during that time that you can come in and book it all. And we're going to be talking about that gentleman soon. He actually does some of the other games at some of the other events that we've been at. And we've met him and stuff. And we may be doing Galveston next year. We don't know yet. Not a lot of restaurants and stuff on that one side of the water. You're usually riding your bike down. And there's a campground and a couple things on the left side, but not much on the left side. Most of everything is on the right side when you're driving down.
What's the party place you want to go to again one day?
Yep. We don't have to wait to see. The border's closed right now. But it's the Mexico border. It's called
Rocky Point. Puerto Penasco.
And which means Rocky Point in Spanish. We did it a couple years ago. Adam Sandoval's done it the last 2 years. We did it 2 years ago. We did it. It is. If you're looking for old school rally, that is it. There's things I can't tell you that you see there. Their main street's probably only maybe 3 or 4 blocks long. Bars all on one side, restaurants, just a kind of a touristy area. You could go down there and it's very reasonable. Now you do have to have a passport. And we can talk about that on another video because I don't want to get too long into it. Or you can go back and watch our other videos about it. It's not that hard to get across the border. You don't really have any trouble. We didn't have any trouble coming across the border. Nobody stopped us. We never had any trouble down there. There's some weird things that go on, but you have to watch one of the other videos, or we'll talk about it at another time.
You can put a comment down here and we'll respond to you.
Yes. I want to go this year. But we were at our daughter's house in Kansas, and I wasn't able to go this year because I was like, I want to go back down there because it is the ultimate party. It's just wild.
I think next year it might conflict with Galveston because it was the weekend after Galveston, and they said, somebody wrote, I saw that Galveston's the 7th through the 12th or something, and Rocky Point was like the 9th through the 12th.
So it may end up interfering, which I don't know why they moved it. Now, it could be something going on with town, because sometimes the other thing that we didn't mention either is the other rally that just kind of started is Milwaukee's for the Harley Davidson. They're now going to call that a rally. That's going to be in August from now on. Next year, 2024, July. It's the weekend before Sturgis. Now, we did that. I'm glad that we went. Harley Davidson kind of sponsored us there. We still had to pay to get there and all that, but they gave us the red carpet treatment to go through and get all the VIP areas and get in and see all the stuff. And it was very neat. I'm really glad that we went. One, I don't like it that it was right before Sturgis. Last year, it was about 3 weeks before Sturgis, which really gets into our Sturgis series.
Our Sturgis time.
Yeah, and Sturgis, we're not going to do that again. So if they keep it in August, we probably won't go, unless it's what I told them. If they want to fly us over there and fly us back
for the weekend,
we would go. But I can't drive over there and drive back. It's too much time, I'm not going to do it. But that's kind of a neat thing too. If you've never been to that, you don't even have to be a Harley owner. There was so many other bikes there in the parade. It was unreal. There was mostly Harleys, but there was Hondas and Kawasaki's and foreign bikes and Japanese bikes that I'd never even heard of.
And just all nationalities, you name it. And there was somebody there from a country. I bet almost every country
was represented.
Yes.
So that was pretty neat. I'm glad I went. That might be something to think about. Now there's other rallies. Oh, we forgot to talk about the other one, Laconia. Laconia was a very interesting rally. We went for the 99th. It was pretty neat. I'm glad that I went. Once again, it's more downsized. People made it sound like it was such a big rally. It was like Sturgis, but it's nothing like that. It's very similar to most of their smaller rallies. Leesburg, Panama City, Galveston. It's very similar to that. None of the big trucks are showing up there either. A lot of them are out at the racetrack, and it's about a 25-mile ride to get out to the racetrack. There is some riding there, but people made it sound like it was such a great riding. There's more scenic riding.
It's very beautiful up there.
You're up on the hills, and there's some creeks running along a lot of the roads and stuff. But a lot of the roads, when you get around the curves that have curves, they're really bumpy.
And how many jackknives did you see there?
One.
He was a little disappointed.
And the curvy roads were actually side roads that we cut down on, but they were so bumpy. What ended up happening is big trucks are driving on there, because a lot of people say it's a snow. It got nothing to do with snow. Go to Sturgis. They had nothing to do with snow and the ice. It has to do with big trucks that come around there and the wheels hop. And it's like if you're out here on the major highways, we see it when we're traveling, that a lot of times the right lane is all bumpy. It has nothing to do with snow. It's got to do with semi-trucks that are out there tearing up the roads. They should be making all the roads concrete like they used to. They wouldn't do that. But being asphalt, it gets hot.
Hot, cold, hot, cold.
And it's got all that heat, all that weight. Going to make it do it. So you see that on a lot of the curves up there, to where you try to get it, which I'm not even going. I'm probably going a little more, 5 miles over the speed limit, and the bike's bouncing off the road. But it is very scenic. Not a lot of vendors. Their main drag, that what's it called, Beach Boulevard or something down there?
Ware Beach.
And it's kind of neat, but I mean, it was more touristy. There's only, I think, 2 bars down there.
And all along Ware Beach, there's vendor after vendor after vendor of T-shirts. Same guy, same T-shirts, probably 6 blocks long.
But it's more of a touristy too. It's a boardwalk area. It's got a lot of stuff, games and stuff you can play, and stuff that, carnival type games that they have in some of the buildings and stuff, more for kids and stuff to do.
What about the traffic?
Traffic was just nuts, because what's bad about it is it's kind of like what happens in Panama City too. What happens with a lot of these events like this is the local people decide, we want to see what the motorcycle people are doing. So Panama City,
one way in and one way out.
Panama City's like that. You get down there on the peninsula or the island, whatever they want to call it, and the traffic can be chaos. Now, last year wasn't too bad, but the year before that, it was insane. Down there, Laconia is like that. There's a hill you come down. We were actually 3 miles from the dealership. We're at the top of the hill.
1 mile.
She Googles it, and it says it's going to take us 45 minutes to get down there. So I'm like, okay, let's just see. Very slowly we moved. Finally, I turned around. I actually got all the way around the lake and got back where we were staying at less time than I would if the 45 minutes that would have sat in traffic. And that would have been that way getting in and out. That's the only thing. And it's too much to walk. It's all uphill. The Weir Beach is level, but if you want to go up the hill, like where the drive-in is and things, that's where they had the vendors at, which we hear that may sold. We'll have to see how that all goes next year. A lot of those vendors may not be there next year.
Cool, because we ended up going to Maine that year. So that year, we ended up going to Washington State. So we were in all 4 corners of the United States in 1 year. So that was kind of cool.
And that's kind of what, I'm glad I went. Now, a couple of rallies we haven't been to. Ohio has a bike week there.
Up in Sandusky?
We've never done that. I don't know if we will or not. We hear that's a little different kind of rally too. It's more of a weekend, and there's nobody really there during the week. There's a lot of different other rallies throughout the United States that we are not even going to hit on, because there's more local rallies. Most smaller rallies, we call them the 300-mile club. Some of them are only 100-mile club, depending on where you're at. If you're in Irvine, California, they have one out there, and it's the 100-mile club. Yeah, it's the 100-mile club. So you don't get people real far away coming in. So a lot of these small rallies, which might be a rally you go to all the time, we won't go to, because it's just, one, it's not enough content for us, and most people aren't, unless you're a local, you're not interested in that. We do the Florida ones. Leesburg, if we had to drive back to Leesburg, we wouldn't do it. But we go to Florida, and we stay we get there in February, and we stay there till the end of May when we go to Myrtle Beach and come back. The 2 big rallies that everybody goes to, that you're going to go to, is Daytona. And the reason I think Daytona is so big is because that's the first spring rally for the East Coast. We get a lot of Canadians and people all along the East Coast come down to Daytona.
Because they're tired of the cold and either the rain or the snow, and they said, let's go to Florida. We can get our bikes out and ride our bikes.
Yep. A lot of people trailer it. And then Sturgis, of course, is the other one. Sturgis is kind of central because it's kind of in the middle of the United States. So you can kind of, depending on if you're coming from Florida, you're coming from New York, from California, from Mexico, from Canada, it's all an easy ride to get there. It's not like some of the other ones that you
have to go clear across country to get to it.
Yeah. Kind of nice and I think that's one of the reasons they're as big as they are. So that's where, if you're thinking about a rally, here's kind of a rundown that we gave you on some of the rallies we've done. We got lots of all the rallies that we've been to. We've been to, I guess, 18 or 19 rallies through throughout the United States. You can go back and check out some of the videos from previous years. Some of the stuff really doesn't change. If you're riding the Devil's Tower, it's the same ride. This year we're going to give you some more tips that we normally don't give out. A lot of times we give you a ride, we kind of show you the destination, that's it. This year we're going to go around and give you more tips, tell you things that you should think about, things you should bring, things you shouldn't bring, things like that. So if you need some more information, you can always come down here in the comments and you can write us on our email. You can also go to our website, which is bobandtams.com, and you can also link from there and give us a comment or a question, or it goes right to my email. So you can check that all out. That's what we're all about, is giving you out some really great information, try to help you guys out. But if you're thinking about a motorcycle rally this year, this is the time before the first of the year to start thinking about where do I want to stay. We're going to talk to you soon about Sturgis, and a lot of the places in Sturgis are already sold out. This next 2 years in Sturgis is going to be crazy. I don't know about the other rallies, but we'll have to wait and see how that's all going to turn out.
Yeah, it's time to budget now and think about it. If you're not going to go in 2024, you're going to go in 2025. Start to plan now and budget, because 2025 is going to be crazy in Sturgis.
And there's ways, when we're going to talk about this on other videos, that we'll tell you how you can save money. We don't eat at a lot of the carnival trucks that are out there. There's most of all these places have regular restaurants that you can eat at, and a lot of them don't raise their prices. And we always tell you where those are all at, so you can have a decent meal. You can, if you're in a hotel or a campground, you can bring your own food. There's plenty of grocery stores in all the locations that you can grab a sandwich instead, and maybe put a refrigerator, have some bologna or ham or whatever.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Have something that you're not buying a meal out every night or every day. So to kind of save you money. And same thing with the gas and stuff like that. And it just depends on what you're traveling. But I mean, if you're going to go to Disneyland, you're going to go anywhere on a vacation, you're going to spend money. You're going to go overseas, you're going to go to Hawaii, you're going to spend a lot of money, probably more than you'll spend in Sturgis. Now, there is people that will say that I spent $10,000. Well, they put $5,000 into their motorcycle while they were there.
That don't count.
That's not part of your vacation. That was something extra that you wanted to buy for your bike. And a lot of times that does. I used to buy until we kind of started doing this. I think last year I really didn't get nothing on my bike, really. Had some things checked out that I was having issues with, but didn't buy any really things that I wanted for my bike.
You can go there, get ideas, and then save up your money. And when you go next year, you'll have the money to buy what you were looking at last year.
Yep. So it's really neat, and to do these motorcycle rallies, we really enjoy doing this. Nobody does what we do, that we travel around to all these motorcycle rallies. Most of the people are like-minded people. They're out to have a good time. They're not really there to cause trouble or fight with people and stuff. Not saying there's not a fight in some of these places. People get drunk and get stupid. Some people are just stupid and get in a fight. But, we don't really have that much trouble, but we don't stay out till 12, 1 o'clock in the night. We usually get back. I got to edit and do all that.
He turns into a pumpkin at midnight.
So we have stayed out late, but not very often. But I mean, we don't, because we want to ride. We go to a rally, there's things that, the number one thing I want to do when I go to a rally is ride. Second thing I want to do is I like to see the vendors and stuff like that. And I like to see what's going on and all that stuff. And now we do a lot more of that, because we see the vendors, we talk to you about the vendors, we show you all the different locations. So we do a little bit more now than I did when we used to just go to a rally. We walked through a lot of the dealerships or vendors and things like that, and that was all we did. And I figured out what I was going to buy, and I bought it. And we'll give you all these great tips to make your life a little bit easier going to a rally. And it doesn't matter what time you go. I always say nowadays, you really almost want to spend a week at like Sturgis or Daytona, because if you're only going down there for 3 days, you really aren't going to get to see it all. There's so much stuff to see. Now, if you're planning on going the next 3 or 4 years, then yeah. But I mean, it's just for us to travel all that way. Even when Sturgis, we started doing it, we stayed, like I say, from Thursday to Thursday, stayed a full 7 days. And we still never got to do it all. Each year we kind of added a few extra things to do. And then once we got a YouTube channel, I found out, holy crap, there's so much stuff to do. Daytona's like that too. Those are the 2 biggest rallies that you're going to see in the United States.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Check out all of our links and everything down here below. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Share us with your family and friends. Ring that bell for notifications, and we'll see you on the next video.
And put down here what rallies you're going to, and maybe we'll see you there.